And if you were watching the Food Network last night, Alex versus America, you'll know that one of our famous chefs was on there giving it his best go. And joining us today to tell us all about that experience is Chef Austin Sumrall. He is known for his Southern cooking there at White Pillars Restaurant in Biloxi. Congratulations, Chef!
Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. How cool is this? You know, I finally get to talk about a Mississippian not singing on national television and making big splashes, which, hey, congratulations to those two as well. Much deserved. But I think it's cool that, once again, you make it to the national stage to be able to show your gifts and talents as a cook. So for those who may have never heard of Alex versus America, Chef, walk us through this. How does this competition or food challenge sort out?
Sure. So Alex Guarnaschelli, it's her show. She is an Iron Chef and a Food Network star, and so she has people come on. She gets 3 chefs at a time, and they compete in a specific style of cuisine. So we did Southern food, and they asked me to be a part of it. It's usually people from 3 different states, and then so there's 2 rounds. In the first round, all of the competitors, all the challengers get to choose the variables for the show, and then they rank all of the dishes 1 through 4, and it's all anonymous, so the judges don't know whose dishes are whose, and so Alex doesn't get a leg up or anything like that. And then one person goes home, and whoever wins that round gets to choose all of the variables for the next round. So in my episodes, I actually got 3rd in the first round and almost went home. It had some ups and downs, and Alex won the first round, and so she got to choose all of the variables, which made it a little bit even harder in the second round, but somehow managed to pull it out and get the victory.
That's pretty cool. Okay, so what was the first round? What did you cook? I know it was Southern, and I also know it was you, Mississippi. There was a Tennessean, I think. And who was your third competitor?
There's a guy from North Carolina.
Okay, so we had North Carolina versus Tennessee versus Mississippi versus Alex. Right. And so, okay, so what did you cook in the first round?
So in the first round, our variables were we had to choose whether or not we wanted to make our own cornbread or we wanted to use pre-made. So, of course, we chose to make our own. And cornbread is something that I love to make, so I was pretty excited about that. And then the second option was whether we wanted to do fine dining or picnic. So, honestly, even though it's a Southern Comfort episode, I'm definitely more of a fine dining style chef. And but our group wanted to do picnic, so we did picnic. And then on the last one, you got to choose the amount of time. So we went with the 45 minutes, which was the most that we were.
Absolutely. Why would you ever go for
all that kind of stuff?
Well, why would you ever go for less time?
Because Alex is also going to get less time too. So there's some gameplay there to try to trip her up, but it's not possible to trip her up because she does this day in and day out. You know, that's what she does for a living, is she competes on these shows, and she's very good at it. She's good at the competition part, which is something that not everybody kind of takes into account, because the clock and the variables and all that kind of stuff, and staying within a certain type of cuisine, that kind of thing, it all makes it a little bit harder.
Well, I know, at least in the back of the house, though, there, Chef, at your restaurant, White Pillars, and anyone who's worked in restaurant knows it moves at a pretty fast pace, and you guys try to cook with intention but quickly to turn those over. But is it different when you've got a clock staring you in the face?
Yeah, for sure. And you have to come up with the idea for your dish
on the fly,
execute it all within that amount of time. Yeah, absolutely, because I didn't know we were going to be doing cornbread, and I didn't know that it was going to be picnic style, and I didn't know how much time we were going to have, so I didn't have a set idea of what I wanted to cook. So I went with the meat and 3 because that's something that I really love in the South, and that screams Southern to me. So I did fried chicken, I made collard greens, I did grits, and I did fried okra, and then, of course, cornbread. Oh, and that was another option. We had to choose what type of okra we wanted to do. We had to use okra. We either had fresh okra chips or frozen. Of course, we chose fresh. So making 3 different dishes plus a protein plus cornbread in 45 minutes. It's a lot. I was really, really hustling.
Do you have a secret to your cornbread, Chef? Do you have a secret? Do you have a secret to your cornbread? I think all the Southerners listening would love to know.
So I think there's 2 different schools of thought in cornbread, whether or not you put sugar in it or you don't. A lot of people don't. I like to put a little bit of sugar in mine. I think it mellows the corn out a little bit. But I also like to put fresh stuff in my cornbread. Cornbread's very heavy, so I put grilled peppers in there. I put fresh corn in there. I put green onions in there, that kind of thing. So I like to incorporate a lot of vegetables, and I usually kind of char them before I put them in there too. So that's kind of my go-to for making cornbread.
When you presented your first, I guess, plate, which would have been your cornbread, your chicken, your greens, and then your grits, and you sort of presented that, you said it's anonymous. So are you guys like backstage for those who may not have got to watch it, or are you sitting there watching yours go across the judge's plate?
Right. No, we don't get to see what the judges say at all. So they were actually in a different room. We cooked in essentially like a kitchen stadium. And we put our dishes out, and then we just left the room, including Alex. And then the judges came in after we were gone and tried everything, and so they didn't know whose dish was whose. And then we didn't even know who the judges were until the very end. So they brought us back out to announce the order, who got first, second, third, and we still didn't know who the judges were, or we got a little bit of feedback from the judges, but it was just relayed through the host. So it was still all anonymous at that point.
So what did Alex cook that made her win the first round? Who beats fried chicken, greens, grits, and cornbread?
Right. So I think what my problem was is that I plated it too fancy. That's why she was calling me Fancy Pants on the show, was that I just couldn't. I think one of the quotes that was on there was that I just couldn't bear to plate my food on a napkin, which is what everybody else did. So I had a pretty plate, and it was too much for everybody else.
Is it hard for you, Chef? Though, is it hard for you to sort of?
It is for sure. Well, it's just even when I'm making comfort food, I still think it can look pretty. That's just who I am. So I can't help it. I'm trying to remember what she cooked on the first round. I think she did a biscuit on the second round. Oh, she did she did fried shrimp, and maybe I think she did fried okra, and so she did kind of look like an actual picnic, which I think was probably the right move.
Well, the looks, yeah, I get that, but there's not a lot of folks that are taking fried shrimp on a picnic, I don't think, at least not here in the South. True. So you would have gotten at least, and they make nice little chinaware you can take with you these days, so I wouldn't have dinged you on that at all.
Right. That's what I was saying. If I had been going through the line of food and making my plate, I would have made it pretty.
Now I'm feeling a little insecure about how I make my plates at night. I'm thinking, oh, Chef would just really not approve of some of the ways I slap my mac and cheese on a plate for my kids. But no, you did make it into that second round by the skin of your teeth, and then that's when you obviously shined. But she had the upper hand because Alex, the host, or I guess the face of the show, what variables did she choose to try to throw you guys off your game?
Well, the first choice was on the farm or on the coast. And so she literally looked straight at me and said, well, you're the king of seafood, and your restaurant is on the coast, so I'm not choosing that one. And, so it was pretty funny. I told I was laughing. I said, yeah, I do a lot of seafood, and I cook a lot of coastal cuisine for sure, but also grew up on a farm. So I feel like I can jive with that too.
And you did, and we're going to hear about that and more, Chef Austin, coming up next. SuperTalkTV.com. And last night you may have caught Chef Austin Sumrall of Biloxi. He's the founder of White Pillars Restaurant there. He was on Food Network, and he took home the championship there on Alex versus America. And so, Chef, you were sharing about the first round. You moved into the second round by the skin of your teeth. And the first variable, obviously, she chose was the farm versus the sea, which you still have great experience with that. What were the other two?
So it was to do brunch or dinner, and then so she chose brunch, which I love brunch, but that's I probably
kind of like picnic for you, yeah.
I'd rather done dinner, but I still felt pretty comfortable with that. And then the amount of time, I think we had a little bit less. I think it was 35 minutes instead of 45 on the last one. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And there was drinks too. There was Southern cocktails. She had to choose one. It was a Sazerac, mint julep, milk punch, maybe something else, but she chose the mint julep, which that's kind of tough. Like, those are going to be hard to incorporate into a meal, but so I added it in my sauce, and then I used the mint in a kind of herb gremolata on top to kind of tie it all together. But it was it was really crazy to go through it and all that kind of stuff. You know, you could tell it was hard for her too. It's not easy to come up with an idea and execute it in that short of an amount of time.
No matter probably how many times you do it. And then, too, I mean, hearing your name called, she got the chance the first round, and then you got the chance the second round. What was that like as they started going down? I'm sure do they start from the bottom up, the sort of
they
sharing?
Do. So they told us who the bottom two were first. And honestly, I thought the first round went really well. I did think that my plating was possibly going to be an issue, but I thought that the food was going to carry me through because I thought everything tasted really good in the first round. And they didn't love my grits, which is crazy because I feel like I make really good grits, but they said they were under-seasoned. We'll see about that. But I was surprised to be on the bottom. It was kind of took my breath away, and then thank goodness I just didn't go home at that point. But I made grits again in the second round because I feel like it was brunch and you could not make grits, so I made sure they were perfect, and I think it paid off. They were all calling me crazy though for making them a second time.
That's okay. But you know what? That's that little bit of Southern sass where it's like, oh, bless your heart. You gonna like my grits? You gonna like them?
Yeah,
let me show you.
No way. We'll try this again.
We're gonna try this again, and it worked. So I know you filmed this back in October, so you've been sitting on this good news for a really long time. So what's it feel like to get to officially celebrate, Chef?
It was really tough to wait to tell everybody. It was hard to keep that in, and it was a huge relief and really fun. And we had a big group of our friends and family up at the restaurant last night to watch it live. And I cooked a bunch of food that I had made on the show. And so everybody got to taste a little bit of it while we were watching it. And we, of course, had the craft cocktails going and all that kind of stuff, too. And I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting this, but I was very nervous. Like I didn't already know what was going to happen, even though I did. But I don't know. You just don't know how you're going to look on TV. You don't know how they're going to portray you.
Yeah.
But I thought it was good. You know, it was an opportunity. The reason I wanted to do it was an opportunity to really go be a champion for Mississippi, to say, hey, you know, we're doing cool stuff here too, and really to show that on a national stage. And I knew that it was that we would be able to hold our own there.
And you definitely did. You came home the champion, but also shined a great light on what you guys are doing there at White Pillars. So you and your wife own that restaurant there in Biloxi. Give us a little of the deets on that. Where are you located? I'm guessing it's not picnic style. And are grits on the menu?
It's not. It's a so we do have our restaurant is on the beach right on 90 in Biloxi, right across from Sharkheads, if anybody's familiar with the coast. So we do dinner Wednesday through Saturday, and then we do brunch on Sundays. And it's upscale food, but in a comfortable setting. It's a really beautiful building. It's a restored mansion. It was a home built in 1905. And so you've got this beautiful setting and, of course, beautiful views and great food, high-end food, but in a comfortable setting. We always say it's not food church. It's meant to be enjoyed, and it's meant to be a good time and an event when you're eating there. So we do farm-to-table, local seasonal cuisine, and we change our menu every day, depending on what cool vegetables and fish and things we get from our local farmers and purveyors. And it's just really cool. We use it to really try to, put Mississippi first. We have a local potter. Our tables are all made in Mississippi. Our artists that we feature in the restaurant are all from Mississippi. Our oysters are coming right out of the Mississippi Sound, just across the street. And it's a really cool thing. It's something that I'm very, very proud of.
Do you guys take reservations if folks want to work you in on their visit to the Mississippi Gulf Coast this summer?
We do, absolutely. We're on Open Table. Obviously, our website's BiloxiWhitePillars.com, or you can call, or you can just go on Open Table and search White Pillars, and it'll come up. And we don't require reservations, but there definitely are a plus, and especially on the weekends, it gets very busy. And I think that after this, it may be even busier, so it might be good to get those reservations in advance. But we would love to have everybody. We meet so many great people through the restaurant, and it's just such an awesome way to be a part of the community and give back to the community. And we just want to be something that Mississippi can be proud of. So,
are the grits on the menu?
Oh yes, they're all over the menu. We have them on the dinner menu and the brunch menu. That was a joke that I made on the show last night, was that I couldn't not do grits because almost every dish we do at brunch has grits on it, because you can't do brunch in the South and not have grits.
Amen. I agree with that. And you're keeping one more secret up your sleeve, which I know you can't talk about, but you obviously did so well. They invited you back to be on Chopped. Can you at least tell us when that airs?
Actually, I did Chopped first.
Oh.
And Alex was one of my judges. So I don't know if she was like, hey, get this guy on my show or not. I'd like to think that. So I did that first. But, yes, they're telling us that it's going to be this summer when it comes out. And when we have an exact date, we'll put it on our
So which was harder, this one or Chopped? Which was harder in terms of competition? I know you can't give any spoilers.
Well, so Chopped, the one that I did, which I hope I'm okay to say this, but I should be fine, was a all-star tournament. So it was very good chefs. But we didn't have to go up against Alex Guarnaschelli, so I don't know. They're both a little different. They're both were really hard. But I would say that beating the Iron Chef is you can't really top that.
I totally agree with that, Chef. Congratulations and all your success, but also for all that you and your wife do, being intentional with putting Mississippi first there at your restaurant, White Pillars in Biloxi. Do you guys have, you said you're an Open Table, but do you have Facebook and sort of all of that if folks want to follow along?
Sure. So, yeah, we're on Instagram and Facebook. Both of them are under White Pillars. So you can give us a like or a follow, and I post a lot of our new dishes as they come out, and when we get cool new seasonal ingredients and things like that, we go on our socials. So it's a good way to keep up with what's going on at the restaurant. If you're a big heirloom tomato fan, we're about 2 weeks out from that season starting off. So that's a big one at our restaurant. People get excited about it. So that's coming up soon.
I just planted my first tomato plants at the new place, Chef, this over the weekend. So mine are Beef Master is what the name of them. That. But you'll probably do a whole lot better, fancier things than I will. Mine's just going to be a little mayo, BLT, some white bread, and call it a day.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, but looks like we'll have you back sometime this summer. So we look forward to watching you on Chopped. Again, making our reservations at White Pillars over the summer there in Biloxi. And yeah, congratulations and best wishes to you and your family.
So much.
All right.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
I'm with Jeff in Oxford. We got our stomachs growling now with all that good talk in Southern cuisine. We know we got a lot of chefs in Mississippi that make us proud. But stick with us. We got more for you.